It's the Infinity 1.0 Gold Edition. For those of my students who don't know, at the time, this was basically similar to Skylanders, where you had little Disney figurines, little characters that you set down on a little portal that allowed you to switch out characters around. And so my first assignment on this project, I was one of 3 level designers working on the Incredibles Playset, which is about started as an 8-hour experience, probably about a 6-hour gameplay experience as part of Disney Infinity, the first iteration of it, which had 4 different playsets, if I'm not mistaken. It had the Cars playset, the Pirates of the Caribbean playset, the Incredibles, and Monsters University is what it started with. This one has been ported to Steam, so it uses some keyboard controls and some joypad controls, interestingly enough. I'm gonna grab my little keyboard. Okay, so what do we want to say? Playsets? Let's play some playsets, my friends. So it unlocks all of them. So they have the Incredibles, Monsters University, Pirates, Cars, Lone Ranger, and Toy Story in Space. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Toy Story in Space. Okay, we're gonna play Incredibles though. We're gonna start a new game here, which will override my existing data. That is quite okay. Here we go. So we're going to play the first 15 minutes of the playset. I was talking to my students just a moment about it. So this is the intro to the game. So the way it worked is... Oh, here we go. It's just starting.
Supers Agency prepares to transport 3 notorious villains away to a maximum security prison. I think I speak for the entire city when I say, thank you, Incredibles, for saving us. No thanks.
So I wish I could pause it right now, but I can't. You notice here's our little buddy Syndrome.
Incredibles, do you have any idea how hard it was to get Snoring Gloria, the Hoarder, and my old pal Baron Von Ruthless together in one place? In fact, I'm so happy to see you guys, I think I'll throw a party. This is just a taste of the chaos my friends and I are about to unleash on this city. Catch y'all later!
So Syndrome's pretty OP, right? With that zero gravity weapon, like, he can defeat everybody. So you notice, before we get started, Mr. Incredible is going to start inside a building here. There's going to be a little cutscene here of this Omnidroid introducing you to the enemies here. And he's going to fire some missiles and make the pathway a little bit more interesting, because it was boring to walk across a straight path, so I had to bust it up a little bit. So when this went to the effects artist and the environment artist, I basically whiteboxed this, just like we do in class, and I wanted to have kind of this little pathway arcing, and I had to have a direct path. So we talked about this multiplayer versus single player today in class, and really it's all about directing and orchestrating an experience. So you're going to hit Y to get going.
Supers Agency has asked me to assist you. First things first, I am activating your compass.
So she activated the compass, and I want to point this out. We didn't have this early in the game, but we decided we needed it later on with little kids, so that they always need to go. People get lost really easily. So there's this green compass that actually always points to the next checkpoint in the mission system. So I have trigger volume set up throughout this level, and as soon as you pass one, this compass net then points to the next one. It's actually pretty rudimentary. But if you travel around, you can see some other stuff. I won't even punch yet, but right now you can see just the movement controls. It's telling us to get over there, right? So this little area here where I blew this area up just so I could get the pathing I wanted to, I wanted you to go up this little slope. And just for visual interest, if you ever walk up these, as soon as you start entering some of the trigger volumes, little pieces of it slough off and fall into the water. These are little bits of polish and juice. Don't really affect the gameplay, but they kind of keep you knowing that you're on the right track, so you see things falling in, and they create that visual interest so you know things are happening. So this little peak right here, you see other pieces like sloughing off and falling into the water. This little peak here is where, as much as possible, I tried not to take the camera controls away from the player. So when you get to the top of this, you'll enter another trigger volume where that building in front of you will blow up. And you'll notice my little compass switches to that arrow inside there. Another thing I want to point out is those little missiles that are coming in from everywhere. So I actually made those. I wanted to give more of a feeling of danger in this space. So those are just animations playing and exploding. So I placed all those points all around this area, and I just basically set up a blueprint that's randomly picking one every once in a while to send a missile down and explode. They used to actually happen inside the play space, but my producer got upset when they would actually hit Mr. Incredible because it made the player feel like they were getting ripped off. And so we ended up taking them all out of the play space, so it's really difficult to actually get hit by them. So as I keep walking now down this path that I'm directing to, you'll notice that another piece of the building sloughs off, and it provides a ramp to allow you to get into the building. So I'm trying to like really cookie crumb the player as much as possible. So they get in here. So far, this teaches you how to jump as well. So this is a very simple little jump, kind of a little toe stubber one, which then teaches you how to jump there. That's my lesson in how to jump. I put all this fire in here. It actually hurts you if you run into it. Those are just little actors that deal damage when you walk into it. Kind of crazy and burning as you walk through here. I repeated that same thing where some of the roof fell down in sloughs. This is where we introduced the player to the double jump. So, and the ledge grab. So on this one, you can reach this as two ways. You can actually double jump up to the second one, but we haven't taught that yet. And here's something we did in the game too. If someone stands here too long without actually doing the jump, you can hit this capsule and it will actually show you exactly what you're supposed to do. Right? So it shows a double jump up to that ledge hang. If you're really bad and you can only do a single jump, you can also do a single jump up a bit. So up until this point, we haven't punched, we haven't attacked, we haven't done anything. So you see in here, you're completely trapped. There's nothing you can do. You see this water tower here. So this is where we teach you how to actually punch something. As Mr. Incredible, you want to deal some damage. And if you hit that block, it'll actually tell you, hit the Y button to knock over the tower. So here's the problem. So I'm going to come over here. You see, this is how he punches. When we were actually doing play tests, the kids could not hit that. They could not hit that. So I added some code, some little visual code, so that no matter what direction Mr. Incredible is facing right now, as long as I hit Y, he will turn to wherever that water tower is and punch it. Water tower conveniently rolls over down this other path that leads me back down, puts out the fire so I can get through, and now I'm entering. So I wanted a lot of damage and destruction going on. Right now, since I've learned how to punch, I can show you right here. These little crates. Pretty proud of those. I made those myself and created the exploders for them. I wanted a lot of crap to blow out of them, and they feel really good when you punch them. They really blow up really well. These are little collectible customization pieces that you can collect out throughout the entire game. So I made this part here, where if you're running towards those tankers, trying to get from point A to B as fast as you can, I wanted some explosions. So it explodes, it kicks you back onto it, and now I cannot go that way anymore. And now I've got to figure out how to get over there. And over here, you can see I've got some crates moving. The idea with that crate is it draws your eye over to that direction to figure that, hey, maybe that's a way I can get over there. So originally these were designed so you actually had to jump up to them and then climb. So on this one it says push A to climb poles. I made sure to move this one all the way to the ground, and I moved the collision volume all the way down. So to climb the pipe, the code in the engine actually just looks for a jump. If you're in the jump state, it will automatically attach to it, and it does the job for you. It just flops you right down on the scale up there. Actually a pretty fun way to get up and down vertical spaces in this game. It's kind of like a ladder, except for a lot less work. You just jump into it and he auto climbs up it and lands on the other side. This one, so I provided the animation for this. It used to be a lot harder. Once again, I was watching Infamous a lot, and I wanted to create those. Actually, this was Uncharted. I was playing Uncharted, and they have this train scene where Naughty Dog does a really good job of making you feel like you're more heroic than you are, when really it's just a button press that you can hit at any time. But the idea with this is I wanted to jump across this one to teach you could jump on him, and then jump for the next one. And I had it so that that Omni Droid would shoot it down as you're jumping. But ultimately that became a little too difficult for the kids to read, so I had to cut that part out. I'll show you in just a second. But this one took a few times to make. This used to be more difficult to jump to, but we ended up moving it really close. The idea is that you do a double jump, but you can pretty much just fall off this and you're okay. But you can see pretty cool vantage point here. So you can imagine even in a gray box form, this would be super fun. Any kind of movement adds a lot to the experience. So we're going to jump off that side. So now that just falls off as you're going. And so this is a double jump, but it's made so that if you miss it, you'll hit one of these ledge hangs, and I put them all the way down. If you fall into the water, you're safe. You'll spawn right up on top again. But just to reinforce that.
Supers versus Syndrome. I win.
And every time you see one of those little cinematics where Syndrome pops in, that's because you've walked through a trigger volume that kicked off that animation. Very scripted when we're talking about single player games, very scripted. And of course now I'm in the action, and I've learned how to kind of get around as Mr. Incredible. Here's an example of one of those pad climbs that is up higher that I can actually jump up to. But I've learned everything I need to know. Now I can go down and fight these guys. I'm just going to kind of look from this vantage point here. So I'm going to take out this missile guy first. What's cute is we've got these little cops shooting at him too. That kind of stops him a little bit. Pretty satisfying to beat these guys up. You can see this one, you can actually just pick him up too. Throw him into the water. So 3 or 4 destroyed. Where's the other one? Throw him into the water.
I am almost there, but Syndrome has destroyed all the bridges. Local law enforcement needs your help now, darling. Take your car. You'll find it right there at the kiosk.
In this area, because you were fighting those Omni Droids, I had to make it so that you couldn't escape back into the city. And we were trying to figure out what to put in there to gate it, to literally gate the player from going inside the city yet until they had completed this first 15 minutes. So I added a literal gate, and I just put a giant, huge padlock on it. I mean, really, Mr. Incredible should just be able to break that. But I said, well, we have to deliver the car to Mr. Incredible. Why don't we have like a little cop drive it and bust through the gate or something? And to which they said, no, Gabe, you can't do that. So I had told them that that's what I wanted to do, and they immediately shot me down hard. And then I went to my desk and actually showed them what I wanted to do, which is essentially this. I'm going to buy my card. So I'll buy my car. And this is what I wanted him to do. And you'll see this little cop, he'll come busting through the gate and do this cute little flip. So I animated that in and took it back, and I'll show you. It went in pretty much wholesale. So I thought that was really fun. It may not seem like a huge thing, but it was this little juice choreography that I added to it. This little cinematic to help get Mr. Incredible his car. So now I can drive the car around town. And this is one of the hard things, is designing a level that you can drive and walk through. But really, because it was larger, this really helped you get through. So I created all these destructible pieces as well through here. So we'll hurry and complete this mission. Come on. Oh, hold it. Yeah, that's right. I have to remember. Okay, so we talked to this little dude. Oh, we already unlocked that mission. Okay, so he wants us to save these little characters in here. So these little animations, the movements that are happening in these little cans with the movement and the particle effects, those were all just scripted in blueprints, essentially. But it makes it so you can hear somebody mumbling inside them. And then when you punch it, I just spawn a character out from underneath it. Okay, so let's find these other people. So we're going to get into another section of the game here. Really wish I had my car, but I don't. I could just drive through all these. I don't know how you're... Here, I'll show you. Watch this. My kids get a kick out of it. So you pick them up, and you can drop kick them. Because why not? So that's what's fun. Like, that's one of the big things in games is making sure that there's always some action happening. It gets kind of annoying after a while, but these Omnibots will just keep spawning in all the time. And that's just to keep the player always having action. The little people in the town, they don't mind. You can break everything. Asset creation, I got to do mission building, I got to do the level design. Super fun. Worked with some talented other people, I can't lie though. My friend Corey did all the building and the destruction work on the building, so all these buildings, they also break. And he was in charge of making all that work, which was huge. All right, so here's my water tower again. So I had liked that little mission we had at the beginning where you broke that water tower, so this is a chance to kind of repeat that. And this is the whole purpose of that mission right there is to teach you that you can climb these brownstone buildings and to get you vertical. So a lot of these beginning missions are just to teach you how to do all that stuff. And just like I said, I've been playing a lot of Infamous, so I really wanted like these little power line things to help you zip around faster. I know it's not quite Infamous. Oh my gosh! They did the work for me. So those, one of those Omniboids crashed this. So these ones are in the city. They're created so that they will reset themselves. They won't fall off and roll like the other ones. But I put out that fire. Actually, one of these Omnibots just did there. I was too busy talking, so it did it for me. All right, let's save the last one. But you can see any of these with a water tower, at some point, those buildings can suddenly come on fire, and you have to help them out. So here's another little dude here. Bobby says, I literally just played this an hour ago. Are you serious? I'm glad to hear it's still being played. Spenced Out says, toy colors are used for anything the player interacts with, helps a lot with readability. Exactly. Yeah, you try and make them extra toy looking. Alright, so now I have to come up here. So like I said, I tried to create like multiple ways to quickly get up buildings. Yeah, so you notice, just like Spenced Out says, this one up here looks like a toy. It's got hinges on it. That means you can punch it, it will fall down, and you can use it. So this one is this one's a throw the kids exercise. So I need to throw the kids safely down into that area over there. So I've got 1 of 2, 1 of 3. You need help. Oh, there was one over there on the other side. I didn't see her. Oh, my dad and I played this on the Wii U. That's so awesome. Okay, there's the last one. All right. Okay, here we go. We're still going. I've got to protect the bridge. Okay, so we're gonna punch this guy. Here's something I want to talk about too. So I want to point out something. I talk to this about my students all the time. This is a little trick. This is a little trick here, and this is why I say engineers are so much smarter than, you know, us noobs, right? We had this issue where if you look at this, notice whenever Mr. Incredible punches, he takes a step or two forward. So if I'm punching a character, he takes several steps forward as he's punching it. And later on in the game, we noticed when we were fighting a character on the rooftop, he would take a few punches and then fall off of the rooftop. And to me, that really ruined the gameplay quite a bit, because it kind of sucked to accidentally fall off the rooftop because you were doing something cool. So the leads and the producers and I went to the lead engineer and we said, hey, can you fix this? Can you make it so when we're punching, you don't fall off the roof? And to which they responded, absolutely not. We don't have time to work on that. We don't have enough cycles to cover any of that. That's like they told us it was like a C priority that the player can just live with. So what I did is I put collision walls around one of the buildings with a large collision volume, trigger volume over it, that tried to detect if you were punching. And if you were punching, it put up a collision barrier around that roof. Engineers are the smartest people in the world, but sometimes you have to show them how smart they are or give them a visual problem to fix. So it's like I say, sometimes it's not just telling someone what to do, but coming up with a less effective version of something as best you can. Sometimes that stuff will actually go into the game, but sometimes it spurs somebody's imagination on how to actually fix a problem. So it's like the first step. Because I did the car thing, I actually did an animation of Edna Mode bringing you a helicopter car too. You see that little cop that went in there? Once you break a rule, it will be broken again later. And so I did a little animation of Edna popping out because I needed someone to bring Edna Mode, and then the cop jumping in there. So we'll buy a helicopter later in the game. But where is Edna? She just dropped out. Well, there she is.
Are you ready, darling? Good. The National Supers Agency needs you to reactivate our secret base. But of course, Syndrome has destroyed the bridge.
Awesome also said, I haven't seen a single piece of producer code that I've gone and said, yeah, I can't do this better. This is truly impeccable code. It's true. It's gonna fly down. Bada bing, bada boom. So I designed this thing. An artist named David McClellan made it really pretty. Like I say, anything that's a toy, we try to make it look very toy-like. So I added these buttons to it. Once again, they don't really do anything other than go up and down, and they block traffic. So the little traffic system in this game will actually get blocked up, and they'll sit and honk their horns. My kids love that part. Okay, these guys have flamethrower. Oh, no, they don't. They're not the flamethrower ones yet. Okay. Oh, they are the flamethrowers. Okay, we're just gonna skedaddle up here. I just wanted to get to the opening of the superhero playset. I'm pretty proud of this one. I made it. I came up with a prototype of this as well. So this takes you up here, and then I did a simple camera cut around this to show what you have to do. Hopefully, it's painfully obvious. If not, we put little arrows above it. To make it really obvious to the player. Even with that, even with these yellow decals, we would still do playtesting where a kid would stand here and sit and jump and say, this game's stupid, he doesn't ledge hang. But you have to actually just move over a little bit. Yeah, so we made this where he can run along these, which causes us to have to create a new spline system for the ledge hangs, which actually was a lot better. This was actually a pain in the butt to code correctly, so that he actually hung on to it, and then we were able to allow him to let go of the ledge hang. It's supposed to be based off of like the Statue of Liberty. So do the second one here. And once again, Dave McClellan made the statue, and then I animated it coming out. All those little sounds, I would stub in blockout sounds, and then our sound designer would come in and make it sound better. And these kind of take you up here. Yeah, so to tell you about this is the superhero headquarters, and this is where I'll end this. But because we had to have viz regions for this game, because if you see everything inside the game at the same time, it has severe performance issues. So we had to create this superhero headquarters. But once it was active, you're supposed to, in order to have high performance with what's inside it, it had to occlude the city, meaning that we couldn't visibly see the city anymore. So I spent a lot of time working on this and prototyping this out, but I was looking at like those old G.I. Joe toys that kind of had the command centers that opened up, and I wanted to do something simple like that. So this is one where I prototyped just using like cylinders that were cut down like coins, and did a simple animation of them folding out is how I got approval for this, and I think it worked out pretty well. So I prototyped a really block mesh version of this opening up, doing an animation, and then our effects artist came in and just polished it up and did it, and so it opened up into this. But you can see the wings come out so that you can no longer see the city at all in here. So many fun little nuances and bug fixes to this game. Vehicles in this game actually can't ride elevators, so there's actually a special collision over this elevator that keeps a car from getting there.
Combos and superpowers in the training machine. Find it in a toy store, build it, and start training.